the crowd have brought their fishing umbrellas along today. Good way of keeping out of the wet. But perhaps they ought to have brought their fishing rods as well, and the line and the hooks and all the paraphernalia, because at the moment the puddles are filling up, and perhaps some of the fish from the Trent might leap over here and see what's going on. Well, the riders aren't amused by the conditions, but they're getting up there on the gate and taking precautions, because still next to guest shooter on the right was Shanady in the blue tracksuit top, and this man Ian Dixon is riding round in a complete set of waterproof overalls. On the extreme left-hand side, showing his sponsor's colours, Rally, determined to do a good one, is the bold Andy Ruffle, and can he make it from the far gate? This is the most difficult one to come off, and he knows what he has to do now to get into the lead. He certainly won the first one in fine style, but as they go off the gate now, can he get from the far side? The rest of the field pushing forward. A better start than Tony Slade in the middle, but it's Nelson Shanady that's gone into the lead now. And it looked to me like guest shooter and Andy Ruffle bumped shoulders then, and that has left a big gap, and Shanady's taken full advantage of it now. The problem for Shooter and for Ruffle is to close that gap, because when they clashed, that's the moment that let this man get into the lead. Whilst behind Tony Slater, who had a disastrous start in the first moto, is working his way through. He needs the points to try and get into the final, and I think that this time Slater is into fourth place, while Shandy goes into first, and that will please the American, because he doesn't like these conditions. It's very awkward when you live in a place like Miami, Florida, to adapt to these conditions. Certainly, he took first slot. Second was guest shooter, Andy Ruffle in third, Tony Slater fourth, and Richard Thorner and Ian Dixon back in fifth and sixth place. Well, I wonder what Nelson Shandy thought about that and these conditions.
Nelson, a second, then a first. Good day for you today?
Doing good so far, yes.
How's the weather affecting your riding?
It's not really bothering me that much. It's just making me feel my muscles real cold. Hard to warm up and get loose on the track.
Take us through the race then now.
Okay. Just get the whole shot in on this track. I pedaled over the first jump. That helps a lot. And I just try to maintain a smooth line and try not to slide too much in the mud.
Are the corners bad for this?
Not really. The track's holding up really well. It's wet and muddy, but it sticks really good. It feels like a sponge. So it's good. It's good. It's fine.
In between you, Geth and Andy now? In this
Seems,
moto?
yeah, it looks like.
Well, the BMX track builders have always had to take into account the fact that in our summer we get more than the fair share of rain from time to time, and right now the heavy roller being brought out to level the inside of that corner, which is rutting badly and causing some difficulty for the riders to hold the correct line. These tracks are usually constructed with hardcore and then some arbory shale and a sandy top to finish it off. And at the moment, the riders inspecting that particular point, which has been giving them a bit of trouble as they've been swinging round at a great speed. So the heavy rollers coming out, perhaps more at home over the other side of the Trent, because we're not far from the Trent Bridge cricket ground. However, unlike cricket, rain doesn't stop play here, and the riders will soon be back in action for the next part of the programme. If anything, the conditions have got a darn sight worse now. Look at that rain absolutely bucketing down as the riders then prepare themselves for three of the main finals. We've got Anthony Sewell, Andy Ruffle, Tony Slater, guest shooter, Trevor Robinson, Jamie Vince, Nelson Shandy and Pete Middleton. They'll be scoring 15 for first, then 12, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 and 5 points down for the eighth man to finish. On the extreme right, that's the rally rider, Andy Ruffle, alongside him, Anthony Sewell. This is Trevor Robinson, the Halfords lad, adjusting his goggles, and alongside him in the red line strip, guest shooter. Those are the four on the right-hand side of the gate. Starter there, Les Slater with hands in pockets, keeping warm before he gets into action. That's Tony Slater, number 5. And bouncing his bike up and down to get a good grip. Cleaning his bike at the moment, the Scorpion rider Jamie Vince. And flexing his muscles is Nelson Shanady. The trouble with these cold conditions, it can get at your legs, and that will make it rather difficult when you come off the start, because they have to come out with a really great, powerful burst. And on the extreme left then, it's Pete Middleton that's drawn the short straw. That's the bad gate, that far left-hand gate. And good luck to Pete. They come off the gate now. Andy Ruffle's got the whole shot. He's in a good position on the inside. Has he made a good advantage of it? Yes, he has. He's forced his way through the front now, with Trevor Robinson into second place. These are 1 and 2 now. They go down that back straight towards that sharp left-hander. And really, Ruffle has left them all for dead. There's an enormous gap opening up now as Robinson has got second place, or has he? There's a great galaxy of talents coming up to Big Trevor, and I think that Nelson Shanley's going after that second place. No, it isn't. It's Jamie Vince that's bored his way through, chasing after Andy Ruffle, who takes first on the line. Jamie Vince, yes, was in second place, and Nelson Shanley third, so let's wait for confirmation of that as our rest of the people sitting out here, having completed their races. These young lads are very keen to watch the pros in action. And the interesting thing there on that pro lineup was that Guess Shooter was 6th, Anthony Sewell was 7th. Well, I wonder what Andy Ruffle thought about that one.
Andy, magnificent win in the first main.
Yeah, I'm pretty pleased. To tell you the truth, I wasn't really expecting that. My form during the motos wasn't absolutely spot on, and I was getting a bit worried about my gating. But I mean, in that one, I got a pretty good gate, and I just went for it.
Well, Andy Ruffle had with him his girlfriend wearing one of his Whole Shot T-shirts. That's the name of Andy's company, and that's what he says you have to get for the Whole Shot. These lads now are rather happy that the sun has come out, because with the sunshine and the strong wind, the track is beginning to dry, and also that very slippy gate is drying out too. So they're very pleased with this one, the second of the finals. And up there on the extreme left-hand side of the gate, we can see Guess Shooter. Now, I don't think he likes that. You can see the nonchalant gesture. He realises that on the far side there, nobody so far has won a moto from that far side in the Pro Series. Let's see how they go now. Oh, he slipped his pedal, and that looked like he dropped straight back. Poor old Tony Slater. He's not had a very fortunate series so far, and he's gone straight to the back of this field. Having slipped his pedal just shows that still, despite the sun drying the track, it's very difficult to keep your feet on the pedals. And the man pedalling away at the front now, that's Anthony Sewell, followed by Guess Shooter in a second place. That is a phenomenal performance. He's come from the far side of the gate into second, and now he's challenging Sewell. He's trying to get up on the inside, doesn't quite make it, so Sewell now looks like he's home and dry. Yes, the sun is shining on the man from California, who goes over the line in first place. But what a fine ride by young Guess Shooter to get himself from the far side into second place. That really was a turn up for the books and shows what just can be done. The crowd also waiting the result, and there we have it. Anthony Sewell in first place, Guess Shooter a fine second, Andy Ruffle in third, Nelson Shanley, the American, in fourth place, Jamie Vince in fifth, Pete Middleton sixth, and Trevor Robinson seventh. And Tony Slater, having slipped that pedal, was way back in eighth place. As they line up on that slippy gate on the right-hand side, Guess Shooter's got 19 points so far. Nelson Shanley next to him has also got 19 points. Well, Tony Slater isn't in the hunt at the moment, nor is Trevor Robinson. The interest really is centred further across the gate, because they're the boys really chasing after this top money today. And Jamie Vince there has got 20 points, so he's in this top 5, and alongside him is Anthony Sewell with 21 points. But the man they've all got to watch is Andy Ruffle, and he's alongside Pete Middleton. On the extreme left there, Andy has 25 points, and he's got the worst gate as well. So he's really got to go some now to stay out and take home the maximum amount of cash, because this is the third main, the third final as such. And over on the extreme left, Andy Ruffle, and on the extreme right, Guess Shooter. Well, the sun has come out now. They couldn't wish for a better third time down this track. There they go, as Les sets them underway. This time there's a lot at stake. There's £1,000 in prizes, and they're really rocketing forward, and it's Nelson Shanley that's stolen the lead, and Andy Ruffle's not in the hunt at the moment. Yes, he is. He's over on third place on the far side, but Shanley is really going like stink, and Sewell's gone into second place, and Ruffle's gone back into third. No, he's been chopped. Up on the inside has come Middleton, and Andy Ruffle slipped his pedal. That's going to make it difficult for him to stay on top of this field, because in front it's Shanley first, followed by Sewell, hammering down the finishing straight now. Ruffle's not inside at all. Well, he's cooked it this time, because first over the line, that was Nelson Shanley, and followed by Anthony Sewell. Well, that's going to turn the overall points list right upside down as the crowd now begin to make their way home. We're going to have to look for that result, though, and tot the points up. And my goodness, it was way down there in fifth place. So Nelson Shanley was first, Anthony Sewell second, Guess Shooter third, Pete Middleton into fourth place. And that was it. Poor old Andy in fifth, with Jamie Vince, Trevor Robinson and Tony Slater following on in that order.
Magnificent race. What was the difference?
The difference is that I didn't spin out on the gate. I had troubles on my first pedal out of the gate. I kept slipping on the mud, and I managed to keep it from sliding in the third moto, which was all I was asking for. That was just the biggest problem I had in the main.
Well, he must have liked the track today, Nelson, because he collected 34 points. Andy Sewell and Andy Ruffle tied for second place with 33 points each, whilst in fourth place was Guess Shooter with 29. And then in 5th place, Jamie Vince took 27 points. Pete Middleton was 6th with 24. Trevor Robinson 7th with 21. And Tony Slater had a rather bad day, was back in 8th with only 15 points. Adding today's score to the first 3 rounds, we see Andy Ruff has now moved ahead of guest shooter. He was 1 point behind before we started this, so now he has 125, does Andy, to guest shooter 122.